What if I told you that nothing in your life has real power over you, except your own mind? Not people, not events, not even pain. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire while fighting wars, betrayal, and loss, yet he remained unshaken. Why? Because he mastered one thing first: his perception. In this video, you'll discover 10 timeless lessons from Meditations that build an unbreakable mind. And it all begins with the first rule of Stoic strength: control how you see the world, because that changes everything. Marcus Aurelius wrote a sentence that can instantly change the way you experience life. Everything we hear is an opinion, not a fact. Everything we see is a perspective, not the truth. This is where Stoic strength begins, not with changing the world, but with changing how you interpret it. Most people suffer not because of what happens to them, but because of the story they tell themselves about what happened. An insult becomes humiliation. A setback becomes failure. A delay becomes disrespect. But none of these meanings are automatic. They are assigned by your mind. Stoicism teaches that perception is a filter. Two people can face the same event, yet one becomes bitter while the other becomes wiser. The difference is not the event, it's the lens through which they view it. When you learn to pause before reacting, you reclaim your power. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" you ask, "How am I choosing to see this?" That single shift creates emotional distance. It gives you space to respond with reason instead of impulse. This is not emotional suppression, it is mental discipline. You acknowledge what you feel, but you refuse to let feelings dictate your actions. You train yourself to observe your thoughts the way a judge observes evidence, calmly, critically, without attachment. Over time, this practice reshapes your inner world. Anxiety weakens. Anger loses its grip. Fear stops shouting. You realize that peace was never outside of you. It was always one perception away. And once you understand that your mind creates your experience, a deeper realization follows. Many things you struggle against were never yours to control in the first place. That awareness leads directly to the next Stoic lesson: learning to accept what cannot be changed and freeing yourself from the burden of fighting reality. Marcus Aurelius reminds us of a truth that is both humbling and liberating. Accept whatever comes to you, woven in the pattern of your destiny, for what could more aptly fit your needs? Most suffering comes from resistance. We argue with reality. We replay the past. We demand life be different than it is. But the Stoics understood something most people never fully accept. Reality does not negotiate. There are events outside your control, other people's choices, unexpected losses, missed opportunities, sudden change. Fighting these facts drains your energy and poisons your peace. Acceptance is not weakness. It is clarity. It means seeing things as they are, not as you wish they were. Stoic acceptance does not mean passivity or surrender. It means redirecting your strength. Instead of wasting effort on what cannot be changed, you invest it in what can: your thoughts, your actions, and your character. The moment you stop trying to control the uncontrollable, you reclaim your power. This mindset creates emotional freedom. You stop asking, "Why me?" and start asking, "What is required of me now?" That shift transforms obstacles into training grounds. Loss becomes a teacher. Disappointment becomes a test of resilience. Pain becomes a forge, not a prison. Marcus Aurelius practiced this daily. As an emperor surrounded by war, illness, and betrayal, he accepted fate without resentment and acted with reason and dignity within it. His calm did not come from a perfect life, but from refusing to argue with reality. When you accept what is, your mind becomes quieter. You no longer carry the extra weight of anger toward life itself. You move forward lighter, clearer, and stronger. And once you stop resisting the past and future, something remarkable happens. You become fully available to the only place where action is possible. That realization leads to the next lesson: learning to anchor your mind in the present moment, where real life is actually lived. Marcus Aurelius warned us again and again, do not dwell on the past, do not dream of the future, concentrate the mind on the present moment. Yet most people live everywhere except here. They replay old mistakes, relive past pain, or obsess over futures that may never arrive. The result is anxiety, regret, and mental exhaustion. Stoicism cuts through this noise with brutal clarity. The present moment is the only place where life actually happens. The past is untouchable. The future is uncertain. But right now, this breath, this thought, this action is within your influence. Focusing on the present does not mean ignoring responsibility or ambition. It means refusing to let your mind be hijacked by imagined disasters or yesterday's failures. When your attention is anchored in the now, your actions become precise, deliberate, and calm. Marcus understood that suffering often comes not from events themselves, but from the stories we tell about them. When you stay present, those stories lose their grip. You respond instead of react. You see clearly instead of emotionally. Even in chaos, your mind remains ordered. Practically, this means doing one thing fully: listening without planning your response, working without constantly checking outcomes, breathing deeply when tension rises instead of letting your thoughts spiral. Presence turns ordinary moments into training for discipline. This focus also strengthens resilience. When challenges appear, you stop asking how long they will last or what they might cost you. You simply deal with what is in front of you. One decision, one action, one moment at a time. Marcus ruled an empire by thinking this way. He did not overwhelm himself with the weight of the future. He governed today. He acted now. And through this discipline, he maintained clarity in circumstances that would break most people. When you live in the present, anxiety fades. Regret loosens its hold. Your mind becomes a stable place rather than a battlefield. And from that stability, another Stoic virtue naturally grows: humility and compassion, the ability to see others clearly without judgment. That is where the next lesson begins. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself of a hard truth. Before you criticize someone, ask what part of yourself is most like what you're condemning. Stoicism is often misunderstood as emotional coldness. In reality, it demands something far more difficult: humility and compassion grounded in reason. Humility begins when you accept that you are not morally superior to others. People fail, act selfishly, speak harshly, not because they are evil, but because they are ignorant, afraid, or wounded. Marcus wrote that when someone wrongs you, it is usually because they do not know any better. Recognizing this does not excuse bad behavior, but it frees you from hatred. Compassion is strength, not weakness. It allows you to respond without poisoning your own mind. When you understand that everyone is struggling under unseen burdens, anger loses its grip. You stop reacting emotionally and start responding intelligently. Practically, this means listening before judging, pausing before correcting, asking yourself, if I were raised with their experiences, would I act differently? This question alone dissolves arrogance. Humility also keeps you teachable. The Stoic does not assume he already knows everything. He reflects on his mistakes, welcomes feedback, and improves quietly. Marcus constantly reminded himself that he was flawed, and that awareness made him wiser, not smaller. In daily life, humility protects relationships. It reduces unnecessary conflict. It allows cooperation instead of dominance. When you drop the need to be right, you gain the ability to understand. Compassion, meanwhile, builds resilience. Hatred exhausts the mind. Resentment chains you to other people's actions. Compassion releases you. You can acknowledge wrongdoing while keeping your inner peace intact. This balance, firm principles with a soft heart, is the Stoic ideal. You stand your ground without cruelty. You correct without humiliation. You move through the world with quiet authority. And when humility and compassion become habits, something powerful happens. Your mind becomes lighter. Gratitude begins to replace entitlement. That shift leads directly to the next lesson Marcus Aurelius considered essential for inner strength: the practice of gratitude. Marcus Aurelius began many of his mornings by reminding himself of one simple fact: he was alive. And that alone was already a gift. Gratitude, in Stoic philosophy, is not passive positivity. It is mental discipline. It is the conscious choice to recognize what is already sufficient instead of obsessing over what is missing. Most suffering does not come from pain itself, but from comparison and expectation. We measure our lives against imagined standards, other people's success, or futures that have not arrived. Gratitude breaks this cycle by anchoring the mind in reality. It brings you back to what is true, not what you wish were different. Marcus wrote that each morning you should wake up grateful for the ability to breathe, to think, to experience the world. These are not small things. They are the foundation of everything else. When you remember this, frustration loses its urgency. Practicing gratitude does not mean ignoring hardship. Stoics never deny difficulty. Instead, they ask, what remains good even now? The ability to endure, the chance to learn, the strength to respond with character. A simple daily practice can reshape your mindset. At the end of each day, name 3 things that went right, not because the day was perfect, but because life still offered something worth acknowledging. Over time, this trains your attention. You stop scanning for threats and start noticing stability. Gratitude also builds emotional resilience. When external conditions change, a grateful mind adapts faster. It is less dependent on outcomes and more grounded in inner resources. This is why Stoics were so difficult to break. They did not need much to feel whole. Even relationships improve through gratitude. When you appreciate people as they are, not as tools for your happiness, resentment fades. You interact with less demand and more clarity. Gratitude, then, is not weakness. It is quiet power. It strengthens contentment, sharpens perspective, and protects your peace. And once gratitude steadies your mind, you are prepared for a deeper challenge, learning to see adversity itself as a path to growth, which brings us to the next lesson. Marcus Aurelius did not see hardship as a detour from life. He saw it as life itself, doing its work. In Stoicism, adversity is not a curse, it is a training ground. Every obstacle carries the potential to strengthen character, sharpen judgment, and deepen resilience. The difference is not the event, but how you interpret it. Marcus famously wrote, "The obstacle on the path becomes the path." This was not poetic comfort. It was a practical rule for survival and growth. When something stands in your way, you have 2 options: resist it with bitterness, or use it as raw material for becoming stronger. Most people ask, why is this happening to me? A Stoic asks, what is this here to teach me? That shift alone changes everything. Adversity forces you to confront your limits, your habits, and your assumptions. It exposes where you rely too much on comfort and too little on character. Hardship trains emotional endurance. When plans collapse or people disappoint you, you learn patience. When effort goes unrewarded, you learn persistence without attachment. When things are taken from you, you discover what cannot be taken: your values, your discipline, your response. Stoics did not seek suffering for its own sake, but they welcomed it when it arrived. They understood that ease makes us careless, while difficulty makes us precise. Just as fire tempers steel, pressure tempers the mind. You can practice this mindset daily. When something goes wrong, pause before reacting. Name the challenge clearly. Ask how a wiser, calmer version of yourself would respond. Over time, this creates a powerful internal shift. You stop fearing problems and start meeting them with readiness. Adversity also builds humility. It reminds you that life is not under your control, but your conduct always is. That realization strips away entitlement and replaces it with strength. When you embrace difficulty instead of fighting reality, you grow faster, stand firmer, and suffer less. And once you learn to use adversity rather than escape it, the next lesson becomes clear. Why reason, not emotion, must guide your decisions, which leads us to the next chapter. For the Stoics, reason was not cold or heartless. It was clarity in the middle of chaos. Marcus Aurelius believed that most human suffering does not come from events themselves, but from the judgments we attach to them. Anger, fear, jealousy, and despair feel powerful, but they are reactions, not truths. When emotion takes the wheel, your life is driven by impulse. When reason leads, you regain command. Marcus wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." This is not motivational talk. It is a warning. If your thinking is sloppy, emotional, or automatic, your life will reflect that disorder. To let reason lead means creating space between stimulus and response. Something happens. Emotion rises. Instead of acting immediately, you observe. You ask, is this within my control? Is my interpretation accurate? Will reacting this way improve the situation, or only satisfy a temporary feeling? Emotion is fast. Reason is deliberate. Emotion wants relief now. Reason wants alignment with your values long term. The Stoics did not suppress emotion. They examined it. Anger, for example, often masks wounded pride. Fear often exaggerates future pain. When reason steps in, it exposes these distortions. Once seen clearly, emotion loses its grip. This practice turns you from a reactor into a chooser. Instead of being pulled by moods, you act from principle. Instead of saying things you regret, you speak with intention. Instead of escalating conflict, you de-escalate through clarity. Letting reason lead also protects your energy. Emotional reactions drain you. They keep your mind noisy and unfocused. Reason simplifies. It asks only what matters now and ignores what does not. In daily life, this looks practical. Before responding to criticism, pause. Before making a decision under stress, slow your breath. Before assuming bad intent, question the story in your head. These small moments of rational control compound into a calm, grounded presence. People begin to feel it around you. You become steady where others are volatile, predictable in values, not in weakness. Calm not because life is easy, but because your inner order is strong. And when reason consistently leads your thoughts, something remarkable happens. The mind grows quieter. Emotional turbulence fades faster. You stop fighting every moment. That inner quiet is not emptiness. It is strength. And from that strength emerges the next Stoic discipline, cultivating deep, unshakable inner peace, which we explore in the next chapter. Inner peace, in Stoic philosophy, is not the absence of noise, problems, or pressure. It is the absence of inner resistance to what already is. Marcus Aurelius reminded us, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. In other words, your inner world is shaped not by events, but by how you interpret them. Most people believe peace will come after life calms down, after success, after approval, after control. Stoicism teaches the opposite. Peace comes first. It is a discipline, a daily practice of choosing clarity over chaos, reason over impulse, and acceptance over resentment. To cultivate inner peace, you must first stop arguing with reality. Pain multiplies when we say, "This shouldn't be happening." The Stoic asks a different question. Given that this is happening, how will I respond with dignity? That shift alone restores power. You stop wasting energy fighting what you cannot change and redirect it toward what you can: your thoughts, actions, and character. Inner peace also requires guarding your mind. Not every opinion deserves entry. Not every emotion deserves obedience. The Stoic observes feelings like passing weather, acknowledging them without surrendering control. Anger, fear, and anxiety may knock on the door, but you decide whether they enter. Daily practices matter. Moments of silence, intentional breathing, reflecting on what truly matters. Letting go of mental clutter created by comparison, outrage, and constant stimulation. Peace is not passive. It is actively protected. Most importantly, inner peace is rooted in values, not outcomes. When you live in alignment with reason and virtue, your mind settles. Even when circumstances shake, something inside remains still. That stillness is strength. It allows you to see clearly, choose wisely, and endure calmly. And yet, inner peace reaches its highest form when you loosen your grip entirely on outcomes, possessions, and even the need for control itself. That deeper freedom leads us naturally to the next lesson: the Stoic art of detachment, where true emotional independence is forged. In Stoic philosophy, detachment does not mean becoming cold, distant, or emotionally numb. It means freeing your inner life from things you were never meant to control. Marcus Aurelius reminds us that peace comes not from owning or securing the world, but from loosening our grip on it. Detachment is the quiet strength of caring deeply, without being ruled by outcomes. Most suffering is not caused by events themselves, but by attachment. Attachment to results, to approval, to possessions, to people behaving the way we expect. When we cling, we hand over our emotional stability to forces outside ourselves. Stoicism teaches the opposite path. Invest fully in your effort, your character, and your values. Then release the outcome. You act with excellence, but you no longer beg reality to reward you. Practicing detachment begins with a simple shift in identity. You are not your job title, your reputation, your relationships, or even your past successes. These things can change or disappear at any moment. What remains is how you think, how you choose, and how you respond. Epictetus warned that when you attach your happiness to what you do not control, you become fragile by design. Detachment also protects your peace in relationships. You can love without possession. You can care without fear. You can give without keeping score. When you accept that people may leave, disappoint you, or misunderstand you, their actions lose the power to destabilize you. You stop chasing reassurance and start standing firmly in self-respect. This practice does not make life smaller, it makes it lighter. When you release the need for certainty, validation, and guaranteed outcomes, you move through the world with clarity and calm. You take risks without panic. You lose without collapse. You succeed without arrogance. Everything becomes an experience, not a verdict on your worth. Marcus Aurelius wrote that we should attach ourselves to what is within our power and detach from everything else. When you live this way, nothing external can truly trap you. You become steady in chaos, composed in uncertainty, and free even in loss. And once you loosen your grip on outcomes, opinions, and possessions, one final lesson naturally follows: how to keep moving forward with strength and purpose, no matter what life places in your path. Stoicism is not about reaching a final destination where life becomes easy. It is about movement. It is about choosing to move forward even when you are tired, uncertain, or discouraged. Marcus Aurelius reminds us that progress is not measured by perfection, but by persistence. You do not need to have everything figured out to take the next step. You only need the courage to act today. Life will interrupt your plans. You will make mistakes. You will fall back into old habits. A Stoic does not dramatize these moments or turn them into excuses. He simply adjusts and continues. As Marcus wrote, "Do not be ashamed of needing help. You have a duty to fulfill, like a soldier in the line of battle. Rest when needed, learn when you fail, but never abandon your direction." Keeping forward momentum means focusing on daily effort, not distant outcomes. Ask yourself each morning, what is one thing I can do today that aligns with my values? Not tomorrow, not someday. Today. Small actions, repeated with consistency, shape character more than bursts of motivation ever will. This mindset also frees you from regret. The past cannot be corrected, only understood. Stoicism teaches that every experience, success or failure, becomes useful if it strengthens your judgment and discipline. Nothing is wasted if it makes you wiser. Nothing defeats you unless you allow it to stop you. Most importantly, continuing forward is an act of quiet courage. It means choosing integrity when no one is watching, choosing effort when recognition is absent, choosing meaning over comfort. As Marcus Aurelius lived and wrote, the work of becoming a better human being never ends. And that is not a burden, but a privilege. So do not wait for perfect conditions. Do not wait to feel confident or ready. Take the next step with what you have, where you are. Move forward calmly, deliberately, and with purpose. And as we bring these lessons together, it becomes clear that Stoic strength is not found in dramatic victories, but in the steady resolve to continue, no matter what life places in your path. Stoicism does not promise you an easy life. It offers something far more valuable: the strength to face whatever life brings without breaking. When you control your perception, accept what you cannot change, stay present, act with humility, practice gratitude, embrace hardship, think with reason, protect your inner peace. Let go of what binds you and keep moving forward. You become unshakable. These lessons from Meditations are not meant to be admired. They are meant to be lived quietly and consistently every single day. Start small. Apply one principle today, then another tomorrow. Over time, your mind becomes calmer, your character stronger, and your life more meaningful. If this message helped you, take a moment to subscribe and stay connected. More Stoic wisdom is coming, designed to help you live with clarity, resilience, and purpose.